Hi there, it's Anke Herman here from Flamenco Dressmaking. In this video, I'd like to explain what you can do when your dress or top is sliding off your shoulder. That sometimes happens, actually happens quite a lot when you have a fairly open neckline in the front, and also that's also a bit open in the back. So you've got that shoulder area here, and if you have a normal dress that's fairly loose, the weight of the dress pulls it all down and really holds this part in your place. Now, if you have a dress that's sort of fairly, tight or snug fitting, then everything sort of moves up a little bit, and it's just a tiny bit that's enough to have the shoulder area like a little bit loose. And as soon as you move your shoulder, it sort of can actually sort of slide off, and that's really, really uncomfortable when you're dancing, when the whole time you're sort of struggling with your dress. So there's a couple of things you can do really quickly and easily, and I'm going to show that in this video. So now I've got here a dress that's sort of half done, and but that's enough in a state to show you. So we've got the front neckline here, and these are the shoulder seams that potentially slide off. Like if the neckline is closed like this, it's not very likely to happen, but if that's further open in the back here, then it's a good chance that you have trouble with this sliding off your shoulder. So now what you do is you basically attach the shoulder area here of your dress to your bra strap. So what I've got my imaginary bra strap here, and so the quickest and easiest way to deal with the problem, especially when you're already when you're not at home and you don't have your sewing stuff with you, it's a safety pin. Safety pin does the trick quite nicely. You want one that's sort of fairly big and closes nicely, otherwise you'll pinch yourself in the shoulder. So what you do is you turn the dress around, and then if you imagine this being your bra strap that comes along here, and then all you do is you take your safety pin and pinch into the seam allowance and attach. And then you have your, out here. Well, you don't want to kind of poke through your entire dress, you want to stay with the seam allowance. But then you have you place your bra strap in the middle, and then you close the safety pin, and then the bra strap will actually maintain your dress and prevent it from slipping down. So that's the quick solution when you're already wearing your dress and there's nothing else you can do. And now if you don't like the idea of, and if you're worried that it might open and pinch you in the shoulder, or you end up forgetting and you don't have a safety pin when you need one, then if you want a more permanent solution, then you do pretty much the same thing, just you use like a little bit of elastic band tends to work very well, or just a sort of narrow ribbon kind of thing. And what you do is you use these little press buttons. You see the ones that have the excuse me, the two pieces here that they're pushed together. And what you do is you cut a little bit that's wider than the seam allowance, or the seam for the shoulder here, and you fold one over. And I'll actually do this because then all you need is some thread and a needle, preferably in a color that's kind of matching. And then you fold this one little a bit over, and so if the dress has a sleeve, then you can just sew it to the seam allowance here, where the sleeve is attached to the body of the dress or the top. If you have a sleeveless one, then obviously you don't have that bit here, so you just go a bit further in. Doesn't really matter. You just have to be careful to sew into the seam allowance only, and not have then these stitches showing through on the dress. And then you just fix that here with a few stitches. You want to have it to take the thread double, you want to have it firm enough to hold up. I mean, it doesn't have to hold an awful lot, but you don't want it to fall off the first second. I'm just sort of cutting off. I'm not going to bother making this too nice, so just you can see how to do it. So you've got that fixed here on one end, and then you think about, okay, then you see where, you can even put on the dress and see where the bra strap exactly comes across here, and make sure that goes underneath here, and you say, well, okay, we want to maintain it kind of here. So you sew one part, it doesn't really matter which one's which, onto the dress. So you sew that here. Again, you'll make sure you remain in the seam allowance. You don't want to, I mean, if you do come through, well, you know, not the end of the world, but okay, so you've got that here, and I keep it sort of right in the middle there. And the only thing left to do is sew the matching one. So what I want to do now is make sure I have, you know, I sew the matching piece here, and so I want to make sure that that comes across to where I want, and I'll double it so I have this a little bit more firm here, and it's easier to sew on. So I'm gonna have to, I can cut a little bit more off here. Don't want to have too much bulk there. And then all I do, obviously now here on the inside, so that when it comes across that it matches here. With a little head poking out, because the head is what's then. And now here the ideal thing is if it's sort of a similar width, if you don't want your rubber band or your like really a lot narrower, because it's similar width, it's easier to sew. Doesn't have to be elastic, really doesn't matter what it is. And so that's that, really. So when you wear your dress and you come along, you've got your bra strap, and then you put this little lever here, and then you just close it with the press button here, and then that's the same effect as the safety pin, but with no risk of you poking yourself or forgetting the safety pin. So that's really what keeps your dress in its place, and you see it's quick and easy to do. You don't need anything, just a wee bit of hand sewing, and you're done. So I hope that was helpful. Let me know what you think. Bye.